Just imagine if you get a notification and your phone is still locked, you did not interact with the phone, and you get camera access, and the hacker can actually access the camera. He can open files, live camera I'm talking about, without even interacting. Like your phone is just on your table and you get live access. And not just that, your banking applications are also not safe. Just imagine the phone is lying around and the hacker actually interacts remotely and open up application. Hi guys, first of all, disclaimer, this is not an offensive video. This is from cybersecurity point of view, how to secure yourself from a zero click or 0 day vulnerability. So this video is basically divided into two parts. The first part would be the informative part and the second part would be how it works practically. So this video will be all about 0 day and 0 click exploit, and I'll be explaining everything that you need to know about 0 day 0 click and how it works and the working behind the scenes and how you can protect yourself from these kind of attacks. So by the way, my name is Priyank and this video timestamps are available in the first comment as well as in the description. So without wasting time, let's start with the video after the intro. So this is going to be really from basic to advanced video, and I'll be explaining what are exploits, what is a 0 day vulnerability and what is a 0 click, and then we are going to move further and learn practically how this actually works and how to protect yourself. So this will be all in one video, the ultimate video for a 0 click attack. So first of all, let's start with what is exploit. So let's say, for example, if there is a bug or a vulnerability in some web application or a device or in some operating system. So to exploit or to gain access, there is a process. Now this process is called exploitation or exploit. So exploit is basically gaining access or the process or the file that basically gives you the permission to get inside the system. So that is sort of exploit in layman's term. And a 0 day exploit is basically something that has not yet been reported to the company or the manufacturer. So if we talk about 0 day and what is 0 day attack or 0 day exploit, a vulnerability that is not yet informed, patched or disclosed. So as a security researcher, we do a lot of research and we try to find out loopholes and vulnerabilities so you guys are safe. If we find out some loopholes, that has to be reported, and a specific CVE or a number, a specific unique number has been given to a vulnerability that is commonly available in most devices. And then the company or the manufacturer or whoever is responsible for the security, basically they release the patch and the vulnerability is fixed with security updates. So a 0 day exploit or 0 day vulnerability is something that is not yet disclosed. It is newly found and it is not yet informed to the company or the manufacturer or the security team, or not commonly available. So that is the concept between a 0 day exploit. Now let's talk about how the exploitation usually works. And in most cases, exploits basically works either by you installing the app. That is the most common way. That's why we basically tell do not install apps other than Play Store, or do not install unknown APKs in Android or third party apps and all those things. But if we talk about a 0 day or 0 click, basically it's basically something where you do not install the application. The second method of usually exploiting is via a link, and once you click on the link, you basically there is some scripts or something running on, and usually that is how the things work on. But a 0 click is basically something that usually happens when you just get a notification even without you interacting with the device. So just imagine your phone is just available and someone just calls you or sends you a message or a notification from an app, and that app has some vulnerability which is not yet disclosed, and that's the reason the hackers get access to your system and complete access. So this is how zero click works. And for zero click, you don't even need anything, or human interaction is not required. So in simple terms, usually when normal exploits, they work, they either install application, or you click on some link, phishing link, and all those things. Those are the kind of things where the user's interaction and social engineering plays a big role. But in zero click, you don't have to interact. The end user does not have to interact. You just get a notification, you just get a call, and your device is compromised. This is how zero click works. And previously we had a lot of examples of practical demonstrations of how these attacks were performed. And in usual cases, a zero click attack was done in common apps like WhatsApp, Instagram, because these kind of apps usually everyone uses on their device, right? So just finding a bug in these kind of apps, and then you get an access to the whole device. This is how usually works. And there are a lot of zero clicks available which are not yet reported, but it's really really hard to find. And previously they are usually used for bad purpose, because that's the reason they are not reported yet to the company, and they have not been patched. So this is how everything works. Now let's talk about some common zero days that are available. So if we talk about some common and previously reported zero click attacks or zero days, we have something for Samsung. We had a CV2020. I'll add everything in the description if you want to do a research. But those are an older ones which have been reported and patched. So for Android 9 or previous Android versions, there were some common zero days which were reported. And there was something for WhatsApp VoIP as well. So for WhatsApp VoIP, I'll be giving all the links in the description. So WhatsApp uses VoIP. VoIP is basically voice over IP communication sort of. It's basically internet based calling which we use in WhatsApp. And there was a CV released for WhatsApp VoIP as well. The third most common zero click or zero day would be buffer overflow attack, wherein the memories, we have certain amount of memory allocated to certain things, right? So for example, kernel uses certain amount of memory, and in background, even if you don't use your application or your phone, there's something that is going on, background refreshes, and even your phone is running, the display is being powered, and there is certain memory. So basically buffer overflow attack is something like, you, in simple terms, in layman terms, you basically go out of the attack vector, that is the buffer basically overflows. It's just like, in simple terms, layman's term, let's say if you have a glass of water and if it overflows, it spills out. So this is how it works. So that spill out water would go somewhere else, right? So you can access various parts of the memory. So I'll add some CVs which have been patched previously, and you can have a look at these kind of attacks. So commonly these are the ways where zero day is being exploited, or how it works. Now let's take a look practically what kind of data you can get. In practical video also, I have divided the video into two parts. The first one would be the lab setup that you can do if you want to perform it, and the second part would be the practical one, and the third part, sort of in the second category, would be what kind of access you get after a zero click or a zero day vulnerability. So without wasting time, let's move on and let's see how it works. So just imagine getting a WhatsApp call, or maybe let's say you just get a normal call or a message or notification from an application, Instagram notification, and the exploit is running. Now by default, Android is actually Linux based, so you get super user access. So once you get super user access, the hacker can actually download files using curl, or maybe install applications. So let's say if the hacker gets the zero click access to your phone, it can basically download the file on a remote server or a website, or let's say a web server, and then execute that in root, that is super user access, and then give all the permissions to the file. Now the second step, after actually getting the exploit or the access, root access, it can actually download and execute file in root mode. Now the second stage would be to install a rat or a Trojan. A rat would be kind of a spyware kind of application, and once you install it, you get a lot of information. Now let's move to the second part, wherein you can download the files inside the directory. And over here I would like to tell you guys, if you can see the location of the file where I'm downloading it, I'm actually downloading it in the SD card of the Android phone. And this exploit is been running on my own phone, and I have all the rights to the phone, and this is just for security research and to demonstrate how vulnerable things are and how zero click and 0 day attack actually works. So once you download the file, you can actually execute the file in super user, and depending on what kind of, if you are using a rat, a Trojan, or what kind of thing you are using, you can remotely install application. And not just that, you can download applications or files on that Android to a web server. You can install all the Linux applications that are required. You can create a FTP server and whatnot. Everything that you can do on a terminal can be done over here. That is also remotely. So over here I'm using something, I'm not using my own operating system, I'm using a Linux subsystem, and that is connecting via socket to a different system which has the exploit, and then that exploit is being run on the device, that is on the Android device that I have, to demonstrate how the files are being downloaded and how you can execute the file. So the second stage, as I told you, would be the hacker would basically install a rat, that is remote administration tool, where he gets physical access kind of things, because a rat is like more of a user interface kind of thing that can be done. So you get more applications, more monitor it remotely basically. So once you install the rat, you get a lot of information like the device ID, depending on what kind of rat you are using or what kind of Trojan is being used by the hacker. So you get a lot of information. Not just this, it can be remotely wiped, it can be it can download files, you can actually block a number and then call from that number. So on the victim's device or on my device, it would show a random number, whereas I'm calling from a random number. You can, even if I call back to that person, the call won't be executed because the number would be blocked. You can remotely view the screen, live screen I'm talking about, what I am doing on my phone can be remotely viewed. And not just that, you can actually change permission of the files, that includes permission of the application as well. You get remote access, you will be able to view live camera even if the phone is locked. You get WhatsApp log, Instagram, Vibe, in fact Signal, Telegram, everything can be found depending on what kind of rat is being used. And the most and the worst part, I would say, of this flaw is basically zero interaction. So as you can see, I just sent a code and then it boom, it worked.